shop and we were working on the go-kart. These videos may be a little bit chopped because I'm filming the go-kart and another project behind me, so I'm kind of just jumping back and forth because we're taking parts off the go-kart and putting on the other project. But let me show you. But today we're going to be focusing on the go-kart because we are putting in something kind of cool. So Patrick is working on getting this front axle out, and you might be saying, well, why are you getting rid of the front axle? Well, I did some horse trading recently and I got this Dana 30. So I built this Dana 30 for a customer a couple of months ago, and he has since then put in another Dana 30 and pretty much left this one at my shop. And so I think I'm going to use this low pinion Dana 30 and put in the TJ. Now you might be saying, well, why are you going to be getting rid of a high pinion 30 and going to a low pinion? Well, for one thing, this project over here, it really needs a high pinion, whereas this one is probably going to have a 0-inch lift. So I don't really need a high pinion. And plus this one, I have already put a over the axle track bar mount. I put a truss on it, and I also put C-gussets on it. And I did put new brakes, and then I put new ball joints in this. So this axle is pretty much ready to swap in, and it has the same gear ratio as the rear Dana 35. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to take this axle out and put this one in, and then this axle is going to go in this project over here. So now we're going to go ahead and get this front axle out and get this one in. All right, so we have the front axle in the go-kart, the new front axle, and let me show you a little bit closer. I put in the Comanche springs. I believe these are factory Comanche springs, and I believe I'm just going to be running the 3 links. So I pretty much did a delete on the passenger side, 4th link on the top, but I think I'm going to put the TJ brakes on this one and get those brake calipers on the Comanche. But one issue that I'm having now, it's not an issue, but one thing I got to figure out is, you see, this is a over the track bar. Over the axle. This is a over the axle track bar mount. So the factory track bar went right here. Well, I put, for the customer, I put a over the axle track bar mount. So I've got to pretty much make a track bar, and then I've got to figure out steering. I'm going to cut that steering stabilizer bracket off, not running one of those. So yeah, so now I'm going to go to my scrap pile and see if I can find something that'll fit from here to the track bar mount at the top there. And this thing should be a lot lower. This thing should be a lot lower than it was, because I don't really know what kind of springs were in before. But anyway, I'm gonna see if I can find a track bar. So I think I have come up with a solution for my track bar, and it's not a great one, but it will work. So I took a Jeep Gladiator track bar. It's actually off my Jeep Gladiator, and I cut it down, and then I just cleaned it up really good. And then I found an old, I think this is a TJ or XJ track bar with a Heim joint end, and I cut it down, obviously. And then I drilled some holes right here, and what my plan is I've got to clean it out first, but what my plan is, I'm going to shove this in here further. I've got to clean out where I drilled, but I'm going to shove it in here, and then it's probably going to end up somewhere being maybe in this area right here. But these are what they call rosette welds, so that's just going to put a little more of a bite on this track bar so that it won't try to separate. So that way, if something happens and the weld right here fails, I'll have these rosette welds still holding on to that track bar, and it'll keep me from possibly wrecking. So I have the wheels and tires back on, obviously, and the reason I did that is because I put in the Comanche springs, and that lowered it down a lot in the front. And whenever you bring a vehicle down, that will reduce the length of your track bar. So I needed to get the ride height so that I can get the length of the track bar. And it's right at, weirdly, at 26 inches from that track bar mount to track bar mount. So I'm gonna measure this to 26 inches, and it is adjustable, but I believe it's been rust welded. But I'm gonna get this to 26 inches, and then we're going to weld it up and get it in the Jeep. This is what I have right here. You can obviously see where I did that rosette weld and then did a full pass around. I'm probably gonna let this cool a little bit, hit it with some spray paint, and then we will get it in the Jeep. Got everything on the track bar, good to go. So while I've been doing that, Key has actually been doing like cool stuff. Probably should have been recording him instead of me doing this stupid track bar. But check this out. So he's pretty much built this whole skeleton right here. But that's what the floor and the kick panels will go to, and it's basically gonna be like a firewall. But we wanted this super solid because you want to be able to put your feet up against it and stuff like that. But you can see he kind of integrated into this battery box. But I think this is going to be absolutely perfect for this rig, just because I want a super sturdy floor and firewall. And I think it's going to go super nicely with this center console right there. And I found this stuff at Lowe's. I may have already talked about it in the last video, but it's like this super thin aluminum, but I think it'll go perfect right there. It's super lightweight, and I mean, really all of this stuff is lightweight. We've got to go back and maybe do a couple more welds in some places, but other than that, I think Key is going to start self-tapping this in, and hopefully we'll have a firewall and a floor all the way done here soon. All right, so it is the next morning and Key is not here, so I'm kind of in here messing with this floor by myself. I don't want to do too much because he's kind of got a good thing going. But one thing that I want to work on before he gets here is I want to figure out what I want to do with these brakes before I start building a firewall on the driver's side. And what I mean by these brakes is this Jeep is factory equipped with the ABS system, and basically what it means is a garbage system that has a spaghetti plate of brake lines, and this is way too much brake lines for a go-kart. So I'm going to try to delete all of this, and what I have is off of one of my TJs out here does not have the ABS system. And I'm going to try to swap on this master cylinder from that Jeep and pretty much delete the ABS system. But the first thing I'm going to do is take off this master cylinder and this ABS box. So anytime that you do anything with brakes and brake fluids, you need to wear gloves. You probably never see me wear gloves unless I am messing with brake fluid. From what I understand, the brake fluid really seeps into your skin and it can mess with your liver and stuff like that, and we don't want that. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is I've already sprayed everything with PB Blaster, and so now I think I'm just going to start taking all this mess off. It's going to be really aggravating, but such is life. Take me dancing tonight. No. Sweet. I've got a bucket down and some cardboard trying to catch any brake fluid. I'm trying not to get brake fluid all over my floor. I absolutely hate brake fluid. So as you can see, I have the new master cylinder on and it looks pretty good and it looks like it works and it looks like it's gonna work. And now I know this proportioning valve is gonna work also, because I don't know what this one's rated for or anything like that. It may have different springs or something inside of it, but so now I'm going to basically get rid of this can of worms right here. Okay, so I have all of the brake lines off of this thing except for the rubber ones, and I'm probably going to end up replacing those as well. But to be honest with you, I think I would rather have it set up like this with zero brakes than the rat nest that was right here. I can't deal with that. But what I'm going to do is I have some copper brake lines right here. I'm going to start making my own brake lines. And yeah, this can be a pain in the butt, but I've got a decent flaring tool. And I think I'm just going to slowly start making my brake lines from this proportioning valve. So I've got a couple of new fittings in the proportioning valve, so I know those are going to be good. I'm probably going to be putting new fittings at all. So I basically have to put new fittings at every corner, except for the rear axle, because it tees off on that rear axle. So I'm going to put a new fitting here on the driver's side and the passenger side. The main tools that I'm going to be using is a brake line bender for a 3/16 line, a brake line cutter, and my favorite is the brake line straightening tool. These things are super awesome. So I'm just going to send this in here and just start working that back and forth like that. And it's going to start straightening out this brake line. So I just put a little bit of pressure with my thumb right there as I'm going inside of it. And then just work it back and forth and it'll straighten it right out. Isn't that cool? So I'm not gonna bore y'all with me building these brake lines. Probably just gonna put it on a time lapse with some super cool non-copyrighted 80s music. a really huge task that has kind of been daunting me this whole entire build. Ever since I took the body off of this, I have just dreaded messing with that rat's nest of spaghetti brake lines. And just knowing that it's gone forever, I'm super, super glad. It's one of those jobs like you just keep putting off, but then when you actually do it, it's really not that bad. I mean, you saw how easy it was to flare the brake lines and everything. It wasn't that bad. The hardest part was just, I guess, just dedicating a couple hours to doing it. We have put a lot of hours into this go-kart today. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning right now. And let's see. Yep. It's 12:53 in the morning and pretty tired. So as you can see right here, Key and Easton really knocked out the driver's side floor right there. And I think it looks pretty daggone good. We were really trying to keep this super lightweight. That has been like our whole build theme with this is just lightweight. So Easton helped us do some tack welding on the floor, and then he also helped me put some new shocks on. I found these shocks in my little pile, and I think they're going to work out just fine. I forgot to mention, I did put in some Jeep JLU springs, some factory rear springs, and I think that made the ride height absolutely perfect. So I lowered it down maybe about an inch and a half, 2 inches, somewhere in there. So it's a little bit lower, but I really want my lift to come from the tires that hopefully will be coming in sometime this week. I'm super excited to show y'all the tires that will be going on this. So I know I said this was gonna be like a budget build, but I kind of blew all of the budget on wheels and tires. I couldn't do this. I couldn't just put a regular mud tire on this. And I didn't want to go with a side-by-side tire. And this Jeep may see a little bit of highway use, so I decided not to go with a side-by-side tire. But the tire that I'm going with, and the tires and wheels that I'm going with, I don't think y'all are going to be very disappointed that I kind of went a little bit over budget. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all watching. I'm probably going to end this video right here just because it's super late and I need to get to work tomorrow and do some editing. So I really appreciate y'all watching. If you don't mind, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any further content on my Jeep go-kart tube buggy thing. But make sure you stay tuned because this Jeep will be going against Matt at BleepinJeep with the banana peel that they built. So we're going to be doing a Kart Wars sometime soon in the future. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that, and we will see y'all next time.